Well, hi everyone. And hang on, let me turn up my volume. I know you're not necessarily expecting me today because it is a holiday. Um, Yet I wanted to just answer a couple of questions that did come through and share a little bit of the holiday with you. I hope you've had a beautiful Thanksgiving, whatever that found you doing, and maybe even enjoying today off too and a long weekend. Um, Anyway, thanks for joining me and thanks for being interested in this work. So, I am going to read the Akashic Prayer. I'll take a minute to do that, and then we will see what messages the guides want to share with us. And then, like I said, a couple of questions to go through today, and then we'll just see. Okay. All right. I ask God if He will have His shield of love and truth around you permanently, so only God's love and truth will exist between you and me. I allow the masters, teachers, and loved ones of you to channel through me out of whatever realm to say whatever they wish. I ask the permission of the Lords of the Akashic Records so I'm able to look into the records of you and remove whatever information I'm allowed. Come here, puppy. Come on. Here comes my kitty. Come on. All right, well, give me 1 second here. Okay. It's so funny with this holiday. Um, it certainly turned into something different than what it originated. Yet it's all good. It's all good. Because gratitude and thankfulness is something to be very mindful of. One thing the guides want to say today is to remember. Maybe the origins were. Uh, for us settling here, getting away from oppression and kings, so to speak. That was the reason, for the USA being settled and established. And they said to remember that this land was already lived on and being honored and sacred to others. And they said it's important to remember the Native Americans that really blessed this land, graced this land before our ancestors arrived. And they would have you, wherever you're living, and especially if you're in the USA, there were native tribes and still are all over the country. And, where I'm living is the Cherokee tribe, and I'm sure there's more. Choctaw, I think, Indians. That's up there too. But anyway, wherever you are, see if there's a tribe near you and see if there's some customs or prayers that they offer. Anything that you might can just borrow and appreciate, if that makes sense. There's some beautiful Native American prayers that are general to all. There are some that are really specific to certain tribes. But the guides are saying they would like to give them some acknowledgement and a little nod and bow. Um, and they said there's so much wisdom that they can teach us, or that they can offer us, if we are open to that. And it's really about, they were so just treated everything with respect and as if everything is sacred, which it is. And so they learned a way to be, the guides are saying that we all should aspire to be, if we want to live in concert with the divine, or really live in concert with our higher selves. Now, they know that's not necessarily possible because we are in this day and age of technology and we have been influenced by that. Yet there are several ways we can, they're saying, live a more simple life. And it is about taking time to slow down. It is about being present in that moment, being grateful for what's right in front of you, or who you're sharing life with, and or just what all you have around you. And they said it's just a different way of offering a blessing, which is nice. Sorry. Wait for Poppy to sit down here. Come on. She loves, she's getting to really love being here and being part of everything when we open the record. So, okay, I do have, I want to share, since we're talking about Native Americans, there's a general prayer. Let me see here. I know when I do dream work with one of my friends who leads a dream group, she always starts with a prayer to um, the great creator, the maker of dreams. And so I just love that. But here's one I want to share here. Let me get that. Okay. Creator, Great Spirit, I offer my gratitude for this day, for the breath in my lungs, for the ground beneath my feet, and for the beauty that surrounds me. Thank you for the wisdom of the ancestors, the teachings of the earth, and the guidance of the unseen. May I walk gently, speak truthfully, love generously, and honor all beings who share this world with me. For all that has been given, for all that will be, and for all that is, I give thanks. I just love that. There's just something about that that gives me chills. Okay, let me see here what else. Okay, let's see here. Let me see if they have any other. Come on, puppy. Oh, yeah. What else would they tell us today? Hang on one second. I haven't done any readings today, so this is me just tapping in for the first time today. Let's see here. The other thing they're saying is they just want to remind everyone to look for signs, look for signs, look for signs, and to remember that the unseen world speaks in metaphors, it speaks in symbols and patterns and, repetitive sightings or messages. So they said that this is an important time, and a lot of people are feeling, challenged, stressed. The holidays can bring that up, but there's just so much going on in the world with unrest and divide. And so they said to remember to look for signs and to trust in the guidance that is around you and the guidance that you're lining up with. They said that it's important to remember you are never abandoned ever. There's nothing you could do to push your guides away, and to constantly talk to them as if, we were sitting here having a conversation, that they are that much around. Um, and most important thing, they said, if something gets your attention and it causes you to pause or stop or think, or just look at something a little bit longer, then it's probably a sign. It's probably a message. I said, most definitely. So I know I get lots of messages when I drive, and if I hit every red light, I'm kind of like, okay. The guides are telling me I just need to stop and pay attention, or stop and be in the present moment, or that's one way I might interpret that. Or what is it they need me to, slow down for, or to stop and see. And sometimes I'll look and consider maybe I'm not supposed to be going where I'm driving to, and that's why I'm getting all the red lights. So, you'll learn your language with that, and you'll learn how to interpret some of those things. Dream books, some of the dream books are wonderful to help with that kind of metaphor approach, because how you interpret a dream is often how you can interpret signs. All right, let's see. I know often when I do readings for people, if they're asking about a particular journey, sometimes I'll see a green light, and that's that. My interpretation. My guides use that to say smooth sailing. And red lights definitely means, stop right now. Yellow, obviously, proceed with caution in the direction you're going. Just take your time. So, um, anyway, just notice they're saying uh, what is around you, how you're being guided. Build up your language, build up your vocabulary with that. Okay. All right. I am going to answer a couple of questions that I got, and then let's see here. We draw a card today, and for those of you live today, we can answer questions. Okay. Okay. So this is someone who had the pleasure of working with someone who contacted a collective of beings called Equinox. So here's the question. Equinox had said on Life Review, we do after death, we see all the sides of our interactions with all of those in our life. It can give us a better understanding of that life and how others saw us and felt during interactions. From that, does any of that new understanding feed back to those still alive and become helpful, perhaps in dreams or a memory? Okay, that's a great question. I get tired of wearing my glasses, y'all, so bear with me. Um, so, when we do make our transition and we are doing our life review, we are shown how other people felt at that time. And so, there is certainly a deeper understanding for us, and compassion from us for what that person was feeling, and compassion for ourselves too for not understanding that at the time. So, does that interaction in that life review affect those still living here? That's a really great question. So, let's see. Well, they said yes, often. It depends on the individual and the individual soul journey, yet it is available energy to assist. If that is something the living person um, can be open to align with, if that makes sense. They don't have to necessarily have this direct connection or effect. Yet, if there is a part of them that is in touch with their need for healing in some way, or their need for understanding and compassion in some way, um, then often they can line up with the energy from the afterlife in the unseen space, if that makes sense. So it's really interesting. It's still a choice for those living here. And it's becomes another thing available to someone to line up with for their healing in this soul journey, for their evolution. I would say that's the best way to put it. That's the easiest way to understand it. What we do here, they always say is like the butterfly effect. The what is it? The flap of a butterfly's wings here can be felt all around the world eventually. And we don't really think about what we do here can affect, those in spirit. And yes, absolutely it can. So they continue to evolve by focusing on us here. And they said likewise, what they do in spirit can affect us here. And that's why they often want to help and assist and um, guide and play, and why our departed loved ones often show us that they're still around. So what we do here affects them, what they do there affects us. So it's up to us here to be open to that relationship and to be open to those possibilities. And the fact that you would ask that question that gets shared here, is really lovely. And the guides say thank you because it's a concept more people need to understand and know is available. So I love that. This is fun. Okay. All right, here's my message. To date, I have lost or run over 3 garage door openers. Now, my guides tell me that I am beginning to get forgetful. They will not advise me if this is forgetfulness is a sign of something dangerous. Okay. Well, so what I'm hearing is a little bit different than that. Your guides are saying they're being playful, and even though it's annoying, they are trying to get your attention. So this would be okay. What these guides are saying is one of those patterns. Something keeps happening. Okay, well, it's time to stop and really look at it. So, are you being forgetful? Maybe a little. Do you need to stop and be more mindful? Sure. Be more conscious. With your intentions. Sure. But they're saying they would have you look at the garage itself and what does the garage represent for you? You know, is it a place you enter and exit your home? Um, is it a place you park your vehicle? Is it a place for storage? How well do you keep it? Is it messy? Does it have a workshop in there? Does it need to be more organized? So they said, look at the part of your life that the garage symbolizes. And most of the time, it's it's a place of storage. It's a place we house our vehicles. And for many of us, it's where we enter and exit our home. So it becomes a place of transition for us. It's kind of like our public life. We're out here and we drive into our garage and we get to transition into our private life. And so once we enter our home, we get to be, however we want to be. So they would have you look at garage door openers. Um, you know, there's assistance in getting the garage door open. So is there something they said that either you need assistance addressing or that the garage represents? Hang on here. And is there in any way you might be resisting that assistance? And they're just saying that like symbolically. I love that you asked this question because it just fits right in with them telling us to look for signs. Driving over the garage door opener, or basically losing it, we're rendering it, useless. So, is there some way you are resisting that assistance, that ease, garage door openers? We all need them if we have one of those electronic garages, right? Um, so, they would have you look more at the relationship um, with opener as assistance and garage as what that might mean for you. Like, what does that space represent for you? So, hopefully, that's helpful. And just to answer your question, I am not hearing that there's anything dangerous. If you're worried you're getting, forgetful, um, and that might be, so many of us aging, getting forgetful is a little scary because we tend to think, oh my gosh, am I getting dementia or Alzheimer's? And is there something I need to know there? So I'm not hearing that. But since we're talking about that now, I will tell you this. If you have, and I've talked about this before because I freaking love this stuff, but if you have microcurrent neurofeedback anywhere in your area, it is fabulous. And it is kind of an offshoot of neurofeedback, which has been around for a long, long time. But this process actually helps clean the plaque off the brain. And so while it can't necessarily like prevent dementia or Alzheimer's, especially if it's already, showing itself, the microcurrent neurofeedback can actually, the if it's not already starting to develop, it can prevent it to a degree. So if it's not in your soul journey to have, and I mean, it's a great way to clean the plaque off the brain, and that often happens when you sleep. But if you don't get enough sleep, that's probably not happening, and it's something to think about. So, again, thank you for letting me be able to share that. I'm a big person on brain health. My dad, passed with Alzheimer's, um, and so I'm always looking for ways to have better brain health. The microcurrent neurofeedback is something I've been doing for about a year and a half now, and I'm just amazed at um, some of the things that have changed for me. But I also take NAD plus, which is great for the brain and brain health. Um, so there are things out there, and that may be just another nudge. If you're worried about being forgetful, it might be your guide's way of saying, hey, uh, look into some ways to support your brain or to help get that plaque cleaned up in the brain. So especially if that came to you, forgetfulness from your guides, they might just be saying, let's look at your brain health. But I'm not getting anything dangerous right now. I would say if you're having, and this is just what the guides are telling me to say, if you're having unusual headaches, or seeing things, now it's normal, especially in our metaphysical world, if we're sharing here, it is normal to see things out of the corner of your eye. Things go by. So I'm hearing more though, if headaches are an issue, then you might want to, have that looked at. But yeah, so you write in next week if there's any other questions that came up from this answer today, if you want. That okay, let me see here. All right, here's another one. Okay, so part of life is understanding a child's progression. My 23-year-old son graduates from college 6 months from now. The job market is bad. Do the guides suggest any route to success? Do they see a region that may be better for him? Okay. Let's see. Gosh, I would be concerned too. There's so much uncertainty right now. But let's see here. Well, interestingly enough, they're answering the region first. And there's the first place I heard is Florida. So I'm not sure what Florida might mean. Let me see if there's any particular spot in Florida, because there's obviously the Panhandle, North, Central, and South. There's East and West. I mean, Florida, that's a lot. Let's see though. Give me 1 second here. Well, they are saying, it's so interesting. So they're saying Florida, and they're also taking me to sales. Mhm. And I feel like it's going to be selling something specific, like a product or could be a service. Let's see here. But I can't quite tell what. But I am hearing sales, and then like a product or service. And when I say service, they keep showing me, the companies that come in and clean a home after a disaster, whether that's a fire, flood, or something. That's the kind of service that they're showing. Um, Let me see the product here, if there's something with product, though. Okay, hang on 1 second here. I can't quite grab what the product is, but it feels like it's one thing, like a company that sells one thing. Let me see here. There's also something. There's something to do with a car. I can't quite grab that, but I would say his best chances look like Florida. Something in sales. I do feel like he will take a little time in lining up with this, unless he starts, I would say, now. But he could be moving, I would say, by the end of next summer, if not a little sooner. It feels like, hang on here. I wish I could see exactly what part of Florida. So I'm asking the guides, is Florida the only place? Is there another place they would recommend? Really feels like the southeast in general. So any place in the southeast, they're suggesting, and I'm talking, I would say from Georgia south, that part. I'm not getting North Carolina, Virginia, anything that way. That feels a little far, but even I would look at Charlotte, but I'm not hearing North Carolina. I'm just hearing from like Georgia south. Could that be, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana? But just feels like that pocket. And I wish I could get more insight on selling what, but there's something that he will find easy to talk about, that he'll like to talk about, that will be natural for him to promote. So it could be face-to-face visit, could be, on the phone. So it might even be something like with cars, to like a feature. So I'm not sure what that is. Okay. Let's see here. All right. What do the guides think on the rising trend of "don't tread on me" signs and flags? Okay. So that is that. I think that's that yellow flag with the coiled snake. Um, so let's see. What do the guides think? Well, they're saying it means different things for different people. And so it's hard to make a general assumption of what it means. Yet, they said the one thing that seems universal with that message is that it is kind of a sign of power, of force, of boundaries. Um, is it a personal "don't tread on me"? Is it a "don't tread on my country" kind of thing? Again, that could be individual, but it is a sense of a boundary, and it is a sense of somebody announcing their power, their boundary, and that that they care, and they care about, unnecessary force coming their way, or unasked for, interference in some way. So here I'm asking if there's anything else they would have us know about it. They said just, respect it for people and to not judge it and to understand that's just the way they feel. They have to announce their beliefs and their needs and their wants. And many of us just we don't have to do that. We trust in our connection, I would say, with the divine and our journeys, and we don't have to live in that ego. So, ego, that's interesting. So it is part of the ego that feels like it has to speak out in that way. So interesting. Okay. All right, let's see here. Hi, you guys. Thanks for joining. Let's see. All right, can you give me an Akashic update on the sale of our land on the Big Island of Hawaii? Is the timing still on track to sell in the next 6 to 9 months? Okay. I'm hearing yes, it is still on track. And if I don't know if you do the most benevolent outcome request or not, but gosh, they're so wonderful and helpful. And even a benevolent prayer, for you could ask all angels and divine beings um, to bring awareness to the new owners of our land on the Big Island, so that this transaction occurs even sooner than you can hope for. And just say thank you, or just I request a most benevolent outcome that the light of our land shines bright, attracting, several, prospects, or its new owner, whatever you want to say, sooner than I can hope for. But use those prayers; they really help. And you can say them every day. It doesn't matter. You don't have to, but you can. But I'm hearing you're still on track. So, and sometimes you can. Sometimes when we care about something so much, we'll say our prayers and we'll put them out there, and we still have that little sense of like, oh, is it going to work? Is it going to work? You can even do a most benevolent outcome request to trust in the process and to trust in the timing, and that'll work too. That'll help you. Okay. In the last 13 months, I've come extremely close to dying. Most recently, 3 weeks ago. Not at any moment was I fearful, simply curious as to the cause. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Any insights? Wow, that's last 13 months. 3 weeks ago. Huh. I'm curious, since you're live with us online, was this like a near death experience that you had? Um, let me see. I'm asking your guides if there is, what message would you need, that would be helpful to know from having that experience. So let me see here. Well, of course you're not fearful, and part of it is because you already have such a sense of the divine, I'm hearing, and that that this life is temporary, and so you don't have that attachment to permanence, if that makes sense. And you're open to just that flow, the journey that we're in. So for 3 times that happening, though, what I understand from that is to you have an opportunity to no, not any of the Okay. All right, so she answered me back. For those of you that aren't seeing the questions, it was not an NDE. However, if these different medical issues were not immediately diagnosed and surgically treated, death would have been imminent. Wow. Okay, so two things I'm hearing. Uh, whenever we face death or some kind of health crisis or something known or unknown, obviously it is one of the bigger wake up calls. Like, do you need to reevaluate how you're living here? Are there things that need to change? Are there dreams and desires that you've had that you're not allowing yourself to move towards? All of those things are meant for consideration and reflection. And they said to remember too, sometimes we are in a soul contract with others. Um, And sometimes we agree on our soul journey to have certain conditions. Now this is this is so wild. They're saying, so they just want me to tell you, you were a great physician in a previous life, and they said that you also were. Not only were you a great physician, you were in a place. You have been in a role with it where you have allowed. Where you have taught. You've been a professor, and helping other doctors learn. And they said in this lifetime, I don't think you're in the doctor field, but that I'm not hearing that. But it's more you played a part in having these health conditions and letting these doctors and nurses have the experience to learn. So, isn't that just fascinating that we would weave something like that on our journey? Um, but we really do. And so they're saying thank you for offering that experience to others. And they said they're telling me that's checked off the list. I'm not hearing that there's going to be more, um, but that was you having still a little foot in the world of teaching and being around the medical profession. Oh, wow, that's so wild. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but uh, no, nothing is banal, as you've mentioned. That would be too easy. I'm not sure what you mean on that one. Oh, okay. We were talking about dreams and stuff like that. No. Okay, let me see here. Okay, here's any guidance on how to best support the land we live on in particular, or help support Mother Earth in general. That's well, you might not have been on in the very beginning, but the guides talked about the Native Americans and the different tribes all across the country, and go back and just look at the very beginning. And there's a general prayer they offer. Um, from the Native American influence, they're always going to say plant trees. Plant trees. They are the lungs of the earth, and uh, they communicate with one another. Uh, they have, the strongest auras of anything on the planet. They're so deeply connected to Earth and Mother Earth. Yet, just even acknowledging the land, um, being grateful for the land, even in your, place where you're living, um, is raising the vibration. It's blessing it. Um, if you would include in your like morning ritual or maybe your evening ritual, or even if you are someone that says prayers, before dinner, it's include the earth in your prayers. And they said that would be very helpful, and they are grateful that you asked that question. And they said, thank you. They want this to be shared. Wow. So they said, uh, Mother Nature is very healing, and more people would benefit from being in nature. And so, how can you help expand that? With so planting trees is one of the number one things you can do, and include it in your prayers and share it with others. If you are guiding, counseling, teaching others, just talk about the earth. Talk about what you do to support the earth. Let's see here. Well, they said we could do a whole show on that one. So maybe we'll do that one day. We'll just talk about ways to be with Mother Earth. Okay, hang on here. Let me see here. How can I support my desire to receive cash flow while also staying at home and taking care of my baby in ease and grace? Let's see here. Okay. Well, I'm just hearing there are things you can make, things you create, things you do that you have a lot of gifts and talents on, and that you are also very resourceful, and you could be selling these. So I'm not sure if that's, selling something online, selling something, weekly at a farmer's market. I'm not sure. Or selling something that you get into a little store near you, but it just feels like you have something to create and sell. That would be very easy for you to do from home. They're not telling me specifically what that is. They really want you to tune into kind of that heart center. What do you think the world needs right now, especially in your area? Often if we see something that we think the world could benefit from, that's a direction for us to go. That's something in our path lighting up, and it creates a niche, but identifying a need and finding a way to fulfill that need is a beautiful path to be on, and it certainly makes it a little easier when you can identify that. So more look for the need in your area or what you think the world needs more of in some way, and find a way to satisfy that. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, I think we are good. Got all the questions answered. I don't think I have anything else here. And I just want to thank you for joining me this holiday weekend, and I hope you just make this weekend be whatever you want it to be. I appreciate your questions and your time, and sharing your stories. Oh, let me see. I want to draw a card. Now, I brought one of my girlfriends. Y'all, I found out I was friends with this person. We actually worked at a restaurant together in college in the town that I grew up in. And later I sold her books in my store. And she had a different last name, so it never made the connection that it was my friend. So until I reached out to her for something totally unrelated. But she wrote a book called Animal Frequency, Melissa Alvarez. And I know a lot of you know about Animal Speak from Ted Andrews, which is a classic and wonderful. I love her take on it. She adds some mythical, I should say, animals in there. But let me, I've got her cards, but the book goes into way more detail. But I'm going to draw a card today for all of us. Oh, the iguana. Talk about Florida. How about that? Talents, accepting, appreciation. So in her cards, I'll show you. There's the iguana. And she gives the talents and the challenges. So let's see, camouflage, centered, contemplation, content, cooperation, disguise, expectation, fast movement, self confidence, stoic. And it doesn't have to be all of those, but maybe something resonates with you. Challenges, what is that? Defensive, disguises true intentions, secretive, escapes when things get tough. Ooh, a lot of people want to run when things get hard, don't they? That is natural. But whatever the iguana might mean for you, take one from that, two from that, whatever. And that's just going to be, let's say, the energy for the weekend. But anyway, her cards are really cool, but the book is really awesome. Like I said, it goes into, let's see. I was looking to see if I had one of the mythical ones here. But, there's, the gargoyle. She's got the gargoyle in here, the dragon. There's a guinea pig in here, even. Raven, butterfly, chicken. Okay, this is one I do not know. I might know this. Sleipnir? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a great little deck. Animal frequency. And like I said, her book is even better. If y'all want to explore more of the animals, the frequency, and the mythical ones as well. Like I know Pegasus is in there, and there's some other ones. But anyway, it's lovely. So, all right, you guys. Thank you for sending in your questions today and for joining and for sharing. And I will see you next Friday. We'll be in December already. Woo, last month of the year. It's crazy. Anyway, all right. Thanks, you guys. Bye.